And this was actually a surprise to me. I honestly did feel like he would end up calling in the end that they would couple up. My mistake. Hey, what's up you guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Bree with an E, and for today's video, guys, we are back with the final episode review of Heart Signal Season 4. Episode 15 just recently dropped. I actually just finished watching it like 2 minutes ago. So before we jump into talking about the final episode and the final couples and matches we saw in the end, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up. As you know, it helps me so much. I say this time and time again, but it really does. Also, check to make sure that you are subscribed. That is also quick and easy, just a click of a button or a push of a button, whether you're using a mobile device or a desktop. And if you want to go the extra mile, you can make sure to tap that bell notification button, and that's going to notify you every time I upload another video. But that being said, let's talk about episode 15, our finale. From episode 14, we saw a lot of the people in the house trying to get in their last moments with each other. So Jiwon pulled Jiyoung for a date, Jimin pulled Hooshin for a date, Gyeore pulled Jiyoung for a date. All of these people were just kind of trying to get in their last few moments with the people they are interested in, and we also saw Yisu and Mingyu have their last few conversations. So that episode was more so an episode of getting clarity. Highlight moment of that episode that I discussed in my last video was about how Jiyoung and Gyeore got a lot of bit closer after the date at the coffee shop. I just felt like Gyeore brought a sort of calming presence and peace to Jiyoung, who has been through the ringer and back with Mingyu and her feelings for him and navigating all of that. So I really did feel like after the date at the coffee shop, she really just started to appreciate his personality more and just how comfortable and secure he made her feel. And so that was one of the things I wanted to look for in this episode, especially after her having her conversation with Mingyu. So in episode 15, Jiyoung and Mingyu finally sit down to have their last conversation together, or one of their last conversations, which ends up being more so of a closure talk than I think any of us expected. I think a lot of people, and I was reading through some of my comments, a lot of people were still rooting for Jiyoung and Mingyu. I had like a slither of hope left there. I didn't know exactly if Jiyoung's feelings were still as strong as they were before they took that trip or not, but I really feel like, and even she voiced in their last conversation together, that a lot of things changed for her after that trip. And it really brought kind of clarity to her mind. I really was proud and happy for Jiyoung actually that she chose to move past those feelings and really choose herself. As I've stated in this entire series, Mingyu has kind of been hot and cold with her and unsure of his feelings for her, and so him pushing her away all the time, we really kind of saw her distance herself from him in these last few episodes. So I like that in the end though, that they were able to have a mature conversation confronting those feelings. Mingyu for himself confronting the fear he had surrounding his feelings for Jiyoung, and him basically not wanting the same thing that happened to him with Jimin to happen with Jiyoung, after him going so all in and hard for Jimin and her not reciprocating that. It was quite evident that he was scared that the same thing might happen with Jiyoung. In this episode, we also got one last final date between Jimin and Hooshin. And to be completely honest, I was completely skeptical this entire time of just how much Hooshin liked Jimin compared to Jiyoung. It made it seem like there was more confliction than there really was. In the end, I feel like Jiyoung was always the one he was gonna pick. It's just that when Jimin started expressing herself and being more straightforward with him and more direct with him, it kind of piqued his interest, yes, but I don't think it ever really left a found impact on him, at least in their time in the house and in those last few days they had in the house. I don't think he was ever really going to pick Jimin. Also in this last episode, we had our last kind of conversation between Jumi and Gyeore. I think Jumi in this last conversation was really just letting Gyeore go. She realized that he wasn't exactly really over Jiyoung and had more deeper feelings than she would have wanted him to at this point. And that's why she kind of intentionally kind of removed herself from situations where they could go on a date potentially, because she wanted Gyeore to have another conversation with Jiyoung. So she said she was being selfish in that moment, but I don't think she was being selfish. I think she didn't want to force herself on him. She wanted Gyeore to have the opportunity to continue to pursue things with Jiyoung. And if it ended up going in Jiyoung's favor, then it did. If it ended up going in her favor, then it did. She just really wanted him to explore appropriately. I don't think she was being selfish in that moment. She said she was, but Jumi, you can never be selfish. Even if you were being selfish, Who cares? You're Jumi. Like, you deserve it. You deserve love. We're getting into the very final moments of episode 15. The moment we've all been waiting for this entire series is the last heart signal text or calls at the end. And historically, at the end of this series, everyone is asked to call the person they like the most at the end and confess their feelings. So the first call we had was Jiwon, and Jiwon ends up choosing Jiyoung. I don't think there was any question or doubt in anyone's minds there. He has been one of the guys in the house who has been really set and firm on his feelings and the direction of those feelings in the house, and that's been set on Jiyoung this entire time, so there wasn't any surprise there. But then we go to Jumi, and Jumi's call goes to Gyeore. Even though I said in their last conversation how I felt like she was in a way sort of letting go of Gyeore because she realized he still had those feelings for Jiyoung, she did not have as deep feelings for anyone else in the house as she did for Gyeore. So with that in mind, she would of course then call Gyeore, and though Gyeore does not end up calling her back and reciprocating those feelings, I am so proud of Jumi for finally kind of opening up about her feelings, because it felt like for a while in those very beginning episodes that Jumi was not at all decided or moved by anyone in the house. And so I was happy to see that she did find someone that she could connect with and explore those feelings with. Super proud of Jumi. I love her so much. I hope to see her again. I know she's done a show prior to this. I don't recall the name of it, but I saw it was like floating around YouTube, so I may check that out because I just love Jumi so much and I can't get enough of Jumi content. We then also get Yisu's final call, and that is to Mingyu. Yisu has been sort of like the G1 of the house, except the girls version, and what I mean by that is Yisu has been very straightforward and direct with who she's wanted in the house and how she was going to go after it. She's been a very direct and very open person about her feelings, especially with Mingyu, and so it was no surprise there that Yisu chose Mingyu in the end. Honestly, you could just see Yisu and Mingyu clicked from the very moment they met. And she brought out a side of him that I don't think any of the other girls really brought out of him, because she's been so direct and because she's been so straightforward and honest with him about her feelings, which I really feel like he needed, especially in this confusing time for him, navigating his feelings for Jimin and then Jiyoung and Yisu. So I really felt like he could appreciate her strong personality, and she just brought out a very nice side of him, I'll say. Next, we have Jimin, who chooses Hooshin. No surprise there. Jimin in these last few episodes has expressed her feelings finally to Hooshin. She was kind of reserved and held back her feelings after the disappointment and heartbreak with Jiwon, and so after that, she kind of went into a slump and was not being herself, but slowly but surely she started to be herself and open up more so Hooshin, who she ended up inevitably having feelings for in the end. But so unfortunately in the end, Hooshin ends up calling Jiyoung, and this was actually a surprise to me. I honestly did feel like he would end up calling Jimin in the end and that they would couple up. My mistake. It just felt like he was ready to move past those feelings for Jiyoung, though in the end I think he just was really honest with himself about those feelings, and maybe he was just scared to really go full out and pursue them without him like feeling like he would get hurt in the end. But ultimately he ended up choosing Jiyoung, who he has just been deeply in love with ever since their first date. But then we had Mingyu, who chose Yisu, and Jiyoung, who chose Gyeore. These are the only two couples in the end who ended up choosing each other. There was a little bit of doubt in my mind as to whether Mingyu would choose Yisu or Jiyoung. I felt like it was a little bit up in the air, especially how he's been moving in these final episodes. It felt like he was maybe regretful for not having, and he still was regretful for not having fully opened himself up to Jiyoung, but I just felt like maybe he wanted to still continue trying to build something with her, though in the end I felt like he just felt most strongest with Yisu. And that's not to say that he didn't have like strong feelings for Yisu. I just felt like he did in the end regret how everything turned out with Jiyoung and how he particularly hurt her and confused her. So I don't think he had like these strong lingering feelings left over for her. I just felt like he was disappointed in himself for not having fully explored that, though he still does and is very happy with his choice in Yisu. But on the other hand, Jiyoung ends up choosing Gyeore anyway, which Gyeore also chose her back. From my first experience watching Heart Signal, the Chinese version, and seeing the last calls that they did where they finally meet up, especially when they both confess their feelings for each other, they just are able to now like fully embrace each other. So a lot of them will give each other hugs or hold hands and finally like do things couples would do. So it was exciting to see that, and it was super cute. I loved that Gyeore really embraced Jiyoung. As soon as he saw her, he gave her the biggest hug. He was smiling ear to ear, like he's madly in love, I fear. But also Mingyu ran up to Yisu and she expressed she was cold, and he was just holding her hands, and they even both couples strolled off holding hands. That being said, that completes my review on Heart Signal season 4, as well as the last and final episode. We talked about our final couples, and guys, I'm obsessed with both of them. I cannot wait to watch this final episode where we get to see kind of their lives fast forwarded and see where each couple is with each other. It seems like Jiyoung has really developed deeper feelings for Gyeore in their time since, and Mingyu and Yisu seem to be kind of officially putting a stamp on their relationship and branding themselves boyfriend and girlfriend. So I'm super happy for all of the final couples in the end. It seems like also Ushin and Jimin are hanging out again, so that should be interesting to see. And yeah, give this video a big thumbs up like I said if you enjoyed it. I am going to be continuing to talk about yours and my favorite TV shows, and if you do have another TV show that you are watching at the moment that you would like for me to start watching and reviewing, as always, leave it in the comments down below. I will go ahead and check out each of your recommendations, and maybe you may start seeing me talk about your favorite TV show next. In the coming weeks, I do have a few reviews planned, so do not miss out on that. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and hit the bell notification so that you don't miss when I upload next. But that being said, guys, I thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, guys.